Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back. I hope you are having a great Sunday so far. So for the past week, I have been uploading a best of 2023 series here on my channel. I've mostly focused on like the beauty categories that I talk about frequently here on my channel. But I also want to do a best of 2023 when it comes to home fragrance. So we're kicking off that today. And I want to kind of just explain in this first video how I am going to go about sharing these favorites with you guys and how I selected them. Because I know a lot of people, when they do these best of yearly series, they tend to focus on things that were like newly released during that given year. For me, I'm not going to do that. I am basing what I'm sharing on what I really enjoyed burning or melting the most. So that may be a fragrance that was released in 2023, or it may be a fragrance that was released, for example, in 2017, but it's still a scent that every single year I come back to and I repurchase and I burn and I love. And it's, you know, just one of those like holy grail type of scents. So that is how I'm handling it. These fragrances I'm sharing with you guys today, the vast majority were not released in 2023. But they are the fragrances that made me the happiest when I burned them last year. Also, I am doing this for the most part by like the brands that I tend to purchase from the most myself. So I'll have a few like dedicated brand favorites, but there will also be one video, and I think I did this last year as well, that's just kind of like the few random scents from like a few different brands that I just don't have enough from any of those given brands to create like a top 5 or a top 6, if that makes sense. So it will just be a top 5 of, you know, some different companies that I decided to test out last year and whose fragrances I really fell in love with. So that is how I am handling my best of series. I will of course try to link everything that I'm sharing in the description box down below, but some of these scents may not currently be in season or available. That doesn't mean that they're not going to come back, however. And if you are interested in more in-depth reviews of any of these scents, they should all have an in-depth review on my channel. That's why I always very clearly identify, like, you know, when something is just a dedicated candle review. So you should be able to look those up very easily here on my channel if you are interested in a little bit more in-depth information on a scent. So, all right, you guys. So we're kicking it off with HomeWorx today, and HomeWorx is a brand that I fell in love with back in 2017 when Harry first came to QVC. And I loved Harry's fragrances when he was at Bath & Body Works. I was just so excited to see him get kind of his own, you know, brand out there again. And so I just fell head over heels in love right away. Like, I just started ordering whatever I thought sounded delicious from the presentations that I would watch on TV. And over the last, I would say, probably 3 years or so, I do think that the brand has struggled a little bit with some performance issues. There are a lot of people who have had issues with the wicks in their candles. There have been people who have had strength and throw issues. There was just a definite decline in the overall like quality of the product, and a lot of people noticed that. And so I know that most of us who love the brand are rooting for them to, you know, kind of circle back around to the beginning days of HomeWorx, because when they first started, like, the products were phenomenal. They started out with 3 wicks in the same packaging as they have now, so the jars never changed. But originally they started as 3 wicks, and then I think it was like 2018, I think it was, when they moved to the 4 wick format, which is what, you know, these are now, is 4 wicks. It wasn't then that I noticed the issues. It was right around, like, for me, it was the latter part of 2020. So after the old pandemic really got going, I noticed that there was a definite decline at that point. But I also know that there were a lot of issues for a lot of different companies, and not just candle companies, getting supplies to create, you know, their different products. And so, you know, for a long time, I think a lot of us were like, well, you know, it's due to that situation. And I will say, for me personally, I've been watching the performance of the candles very closely as I've been reviewing them. And I did notice in 2023 that there was an improvement with a lot of the candles. Now, there were still some that were still very, very light in terms of strength and throw. That was really like my main issue. Like, I didn't notice much in the way of wick issues for me personally. Didn't notice much in the way of sooting or discoloration or anything like that. For me, it was the strength and throw. And I started noticing that the strength and throw was starting to come back. Now, is it where it was when the brand first started? No. But I'm seeing improvements. Now, are they across the board? I can't say that quite yet. I'm always going to be honest with you guys. Like, I don't have any reason to not be. You know, I think that there is still room for improvement with HomeWorx, and I really do hope that they have been taking the feedback that a lot of people have been putting out there, whether in candle reviews or reviews that are left over on QVC or on their website. You know, and I know that Harry is pretty good about being on social media, and I'm sure, you know, he's seen the chatter here and there. So I just hope that HomeWorx as a company has taken all of that information and kind of taken a look at their manufacturing process, taken a look at their, you know, what the raw materials that they're using, and just making tweaks here and there to continue to better the product, because I do think that HomeWorx has it within them to, you know, turn any issues around. It's just a matter of, are they doing it? How fast is it happening? Is it, you know, it's not going to be fast enough for everybody. Like, I do think that, you know, a lot of us have pretty strict expectations, and as we should, if we're spending our money on something, you should get a good quality product, right? So anyway, so I guess the moral of the story for me for last year with HomeWorx was that I started seeing some improvements, and I continue to be hopeful. I will certainly be purchasing new fragrances from HomeWorx this year. I am going to try really hard not to repurchase things that I've already purchased in the past, especially if I currently still have a backup of that given scent. Now, if it's one that's coming back around that I haven't had access to in a couple of years, I certainly see myself maybe repurchasing one of those to enjoy. But I am no longer in the candle hoarding game. That was a tough thing for me to get over, and I don't know that I'm cured permanently from that, because it can definitely be addicting, right, to collect candles. But at the same time, I also value our house and this space, and I want to respect it, and I just don't want to fill it with like a bunch of stuff. And then, you know, my family, for example, doesn't have room in a closet to like put blankets away or extra pillows or things like that. Like, not every closet needs to be filled with, you know, home fragrance. And I'm not saying that every closet is right now, but there's a lot of stuff floating around, and I'd like to condense it all into a more reasonable collection. So anyway, you guys, let's get started on these favorites from HomeWorx. So one thing that I've really enjoyed in terms of what HomeWorx has done is that they have repackaged or re-released, if you will, a lot of fragrances that were out in the past. Some people hate repackages. I love them, especially if it's a scent that like I'm really into. I think you can have a healthy balance of the two, right? Like, I don't think that you just have to have new fragrances. I think that you can also, you know, bring some repackages out. I think that for the most part, what HomeWorx did was reasonable. Bath and Body Works like always recycles the same things over and over again, right? So I think this is a thing that a lot of brands do, and so yeah, I don't know. It just bothers some people. It doesn't bother me. I'm I don't know, I like it because some of my favorites came back last year, and one of the ones that did come back, let's start with this one, is Autumn Pumpkin. I fell in love with Autumn Pumpkin back in 2017. I actually had a 3-wick left of it from like the OG days. This one is not an OG. This one's actually from 2019. The notes in here are pumpkin, orange, cardamom, cinnamon, clove, and nutmeg. This is just such a beautiful fall gourmand. Like, this smells quite gourmand to my nose, but there's also just a touch of like this interesting earthiness to this one, and I think it's from the cardamom, to be totally honest. It's got some of the fall spices, but it's not overly spicy. It is just the epitome of a classic fall pumpkin scent to my nose, and I adore this one. I actually purchased the luxe size of this one this year, and I loved it. It had a great performance. I just think that as far as fall scents go, this one here and then the next one, which no surprise, it's Harvest Leaves. Oh, this is also a 2019. I found these underneath our guest room bed. I have like one of those big like storage things from IKEA under there, and it's filled with like some fall candles. I don't know why I stuck the fall candles under that bed, but that's what I did. This is why I need to get everything into one spot so I can actually see what I have. But anyway, Harvest Leaves is again a classic that the brand released during its like initial launch over on QVC. The second that I got a hold of this, I was like, this is it. This is my fall scent. I love cranberry during the fall and the holidays, and I actually love burning this candle not only from like September to like early November, but I will burn this throughout Christmas as well. In fact, I burned this over Christmas this year. I just took the label off. I just cut it, like I scored it with a knife, and then because these are just shrink wrapped on here, it's very easy to get these off. But then I have that beautiful, obviously, burgundy wax. So looked great on my candle pedestal. But this one here is just, it's pumpkin, mandarin, cranberry, fir balsam, and applewood. It is delightful, and I just don't think that there's like a better fall scent out there. I think this is like my top fall scent. Besides, oh, I still love cranberry chutney from Yankee. What do you think, buddy? Hold on one second. All right, so sorry about that. Had a little coughing attack. Anyway, we're gonna keep going, and we're gonna stick with cranberry for the moment being, since we just talked about Harvest Leaves here. But the next scent I don't have a backup of. It was released last year, and it was Cranberry Sauce. So I burned through the one that I had, and I really loved it, you guys. I want that to come back because I think that was an incredible take on a very authentic cranberry chutney scent. It actually reminded me a lot of Yankee Candle's cranberry chutney. And if you've been with my channel for a long time, you know that that is one of my like holy grail scents. That was actually the first Yankee Candle fragrance that I ever purchased back in 1997. I had gotten like my first job out of high school. I took a year off between high school and going to college just to earn some money. And I remember working at the mall, and one of my clients came in that would, you know, shop with me regularly at the department store where I worked. And she had a bag from Yankee, and I could smell this fragrance coming out of it. And I asked her what it was, and she was like, it's cranberry chutney from Yankee Candle. And so on my lunch break that day, I walked myself down to Yankee Candle, and I bought my very first like candle as an adult on my own, right? Like my mom had candles at home, but you know, this was like my first candle purchase ever. And I just fell in love with it. And to this day, I still love cranberry chutney. And I found that the cranberry sauce that Harry created is very similar. So it doesn't smell like, I call it gelatinous goo, but like I hate cranberry sauce out of the can. It's so easy to make a fresh cranberry chutney. And so I don't understand the people that eat it out of a can. I think it Like, to me, it has like that tin taste to it, and it just kind of ruins the cranberry sauce for me. And I don't think that I like the smooth texture either. I know you can get cranberry sauce that's chunky in the can as well, but it's so easy to make it yourself. And it smells so authentic, you guys. Like, it smelled like the cranberry chutney that my mom makes for the holidays every year. And that just makes me happy, because that's a memory trigger for me. And, you know, it reminds me of our holidays in the past, and like, you know, like, memories are great. So it was a wonderful memory trigger type fragrance for me, and I just really enjoyed it. So cranberry sauce had to make its way in for sure. Now, these next ones here I'm going to treat them as one. Because it's the original Farmstand Trio. There was just no way that I could pick between these three fragrances, and so I'm treating them as one. And if you don't like that, that's okay. It's my video. All right, Farmstand Blueberry, Farmstand Peach, and Farmstand Strawberry. So these came in a trio over on QVC. By the way, this is not the lid that came with it, but I love this lid. This was from was it the Carnival collection? That was a great collection. Or was this the Sweet Shop collection? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. Anyway, these are the original lids. They are, you know, like the fruit. They have the fruit on the top. But I was so excited, especially for the Farmstand Blueberry to come back, because this is one of my favorite original summer scents that Harry came out with. This is such a great take on blueberry, you guys. It's very fresh, but also almost candied at the same time. It's a very interesting blueberry. It's sweet, it's juicy. I just love it. This one just makes me so happy. But yeah, the blueberry is incredible. The peach, this is such a juicy, sweet peach. It almost borderlines like a candied peach scent, so like the Haribo peach rings. Again, not cheap gas station peach rings. Really nice Haribo peach rings. I don't know. I have a real thing like for Haribo gummies. All of them. I think they're all so much better than any other gummies I've ever had. But this is just so sweet and juicy, and again, slightly candied in a way, but so good. And then, of course, the strawberry. This is a fabulous strawberry, you guys. I just love this whole trio. Like, as far as summer fruity scents, these all three burning together in the house is the most delicious trio that I think I've ever experienced from any candle company. It's just, oh, it's just heaven. Like, this is what I want my summers to smell like. Just juicy, sweet, fruity goodness. And this trio always gives it to me. I think I have either 4 or 5 sets left. I'm telling you guys, I bought a bunch of those trios. When this came back to QVC, I went ham. And I burned through a number of the trios last year, and I really thought I was gonna get like a lot further into this, but into like finishing these trios, I mean, but yeah, it's hard. This is why I've really had to make this change in terms of, you know, not purchasing as much from QVC, because as we all know, from QVC, you're either getting the sets of 2 of the same, or you're getting, you know, trios or whatever. And if you do just a couple of those, like, they really start to add up in your collection. So that's what got me in trouble. But anyway, love that whole trio, and enjoyed the heck out of it again last year. Once again, these were not new scents for 2023, but oh man. Now this one here, I love this one. Now this one also did not come out originally in 2023, but as soon as I got my hands on it, I was like, this, Harry just does blueberry incredibly well. I think in general, fruity scents, HomeWorx handles quite well. But this blueberry cheesecake, you guys, oh man, I love this one. The like gourmand crusty type note in this is just so delightful. And then you get that creamy cheesecake note, and you smell like the blueberry compote that's on the top. Oh, it's so authentic. I know there were a few people that really didn't like this one, or they got like a sour note from it, which there are people who, when it comes to like cheesecake type fragrances, like those scents just smell sour to them, so totally get that. But this to me smells super authentic. I love the crust, I love the filling, I love the topping. I can smell all three. It's perfect. And I fell in love with this. And I still loved it last year. I have several backups of it. Most of them are from 2021. And I will say, these candles in my collection that are older, these are from 2021 as well. These smell a lot stronger now on cold sniff than when I first got them. And this is the thing that some people agree with me about, but there are also some people that don't agree with me about it. I think there are certain candles and certain formulations that over time, it's almost like the candle is curing or marinating or whatever you want to call it. I just think if you let certain scents sit a little bit longer, they do increase in strength and throw. At least they have for me. It's not every single scent, I will say. I actually kept there's a Hawaiian, I think it was called Hawaiian Island, that came out last year. Such a dud. I ordered 2 and I ended up putting 1 away just for the last, you know, several months here. And then I'm going to let it sit until summer again. And I'm going to test that one just because I feel like that one, I don't know that there's any redeeming to that one. We'll see. But I wanted to like test it out. So I've kind of been doing a little bit of a, you know, a little bit of an experiment with that one. But that being said, these would be my top, it's not really 5, but again, the Farmstand Trio is 1 to me. These would be my top favorites from 2023 in terms of HomeWorx. So I would love to hear what you really enjoyed the most from HomeWorx last year, whether it was a new scent last year or whether it was just a carryover from a previous year. Let me know in the comments down below. And like I said, I look forward to seeing what is new from HomeWorx this year. I will certainly be purchasing new scents, but I'm going to try to refrain as much as possible from purchasing backups, at least right now, of some of my favorites, just because I am trying to, like, once again, open up some room in the different closets of our house. So anyway, you guys, let me know your faves in the comments down below. I appreciate you being here. Let me know if you have any questions. And I would just like to say, I think Alf was such a good boy during this whole thing. I think his snoring was pretty quiet. So let's give a round of applause to Alf. Anyway, you guys, thanks for being here. I appreciate you so much. Subscribe if you're new, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.